Welcome back. Amaresh Godbole, CEO, Digital Technology Business, Publicis Group India, sits at the center of delivering creative technology solutions and all the bold tech-driven ideas that the agencies under Publicis Group India come up with. As artificial intelligence stands as the bedrock of innovation in advertising, reshaping strategies and redefining success metrics, how will AI continue to revolutionize the way brands engage with consumers, predict trends, and optimize campaigns? We are diving deeper into the profound impact that AI is having on advertising. Listen in. How do you see generative AI transforming the advertising industry in the coming years?
I think the way that the industry needs to look at it is with two lenses. One is how will AI transform the way we work, right? In terms of input. How do we write? How do we create images, videos? How do we code? How do we manage data? That's one lens. And the other lens is how does that impact the kind of work that we create for clients, right? Because now with AI, you're able to create experiences that simply weren't possible before. So if I look at the first one, there it's about trying to make sure that whether it's LLMs, diffusion models, all of the things that are available out there, how are you implementing them within your systems, your workflows, upskilling your people, to be able to actually leverage those. So at Publicis Group, for example, globally, you may have seen this video that Arthur had put out. It's a long 1-hour video which explains how we are investing in something called Core AI, right? And Core AI is basically all of Publicis Group's data brought to one place, and the AI model is trained on that. It has all the systems for people to be able to manage different workflows, and that should be releasing out soon. So, for instance, if you're a business development person, you will be able to use conversational AI to analyze past proposals, trends, and so on and so forth. If you're looking at contracts, that makes it easier. So a lot of the busy work gets taken out so that people can focus on inspiration, people can focus on intellectual tasks, if you will. And of course, the same system will be used for all the tasks I spoke about. So, writing assistance, content assistance, production in terms of, doing quick snippets and so on. So that one big lens is, looking at how do we change the way we work, right? And of course, what that comes with is people, product, and partnerships. So you need to train your people to be able to use these systems. You need to drive adoption, which is always a big challenge. And that's how I think we need to look at how we work.
What are some of the most promising applications of Gen AI that you have used within the agency over the past couple of months? And what is it that you are looking forward to the most going forward?
Got it. So I think in our industry, one of the most promising applications and which is immediately ready is synthetic voice and video, right? Because when it comes to synthetic voice and video, there are many different aspects to it. So for example, imagine if tomorrow, hypothetically speaking, Morgan Freeman decided to license his voice. I mean, then you could have all your voiceovers done by Morgan Freeman. You could have your birthday videos, narrated by Morgan Freeman. So the possibilities of having AI voice and AI video is immense, right? We've already seen a few campaigns in the market which have used synthetic video.
There was a lot of controversy around it.
Absolutely.
As well with OpenAI and Scarlett Johansson.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So I think, in any application of AI, ethics is always a big question. And I think that's something the group is very mindful of. But just coming back to the trends that are interesting, right? So the synthetic voice and video, I think, is a big one. And I think there's a lot that we can do with it. The Oreo case was, again, an example of synthetic voice done completely with the actor's permission and so on. The next one, I think, which is big right now is multimodal AI, right? And this is relatively new. So since the GPT-4 release, the fact that today you can, take your phone and just look around you and AI can understand the world and help you navigate your world, I think there are a lot of creative possibilities there which haven't been explored yet. So I think that's an area on which we're kind of ideating right now. And then, of course, creative personalization at scale, right? Which is something which is not possible before until AI came along. So I think those are the pieces that we are very excited about right now. On a slightly more media front, if you look at it, AI is also changing how search is done, how search behaves. So there are possibilities over there. There are possibilities in terms of, predictive analytics, which actually help us better segment and, some of those pieces. So we have internal AI tools already, which help us do some of that.
Yeah, and everyone is upping their AI game. What is Publicis Group doing differently as compared to others? Even consumers, for that matter. If you look at, all the devices that are being launched, if you look at the phones being launched, if you look at, the laptops being launched, there are so many applications like, sketch to image, for example. You draw something on the phone, and this was something possible only professionally in the past.
That's right.
Is now, in the hands of the consumer. So what is it that you're doing different that will give you an edge over, the other groups?
Sure.
And even the consumer, for that matter, to provide better solution for your client?
First of all, we have an institutional legacy that we're able to ride on, right? We were first of the blocks to adopt AI in 2017. And at that point of time, a lot of people didn't even think AI was real or, it's an upcoming trend.
With Marcel, Power of One.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And what that also created was a global partnership with Microsoft at that point of time. And Microsoft is the one backing OpenAI, right? So even right now, when GPT became a thing, we were quickly able to create a brand-safe version of it within Publicis, which was Publicis GPT. Now we're obviously going to move to Core AI. But as of, within 2 or 3 months from the time that GPT usage picked up, we had an enterprise-safe system within us so that, we could go and use GPT-4, DALL-E, and all the OpenAI systems. So what I'm getting at is from 2017 to now, there's an institutional memory that we as an organization have because of being early adopters of AI. Going forward, I think it's a combination of continuously, trend watching, upskilling our people. So for example, our data teams are all trained to be able to train models. Our technology teams are all trained and certified to be able to build on OpenAI APIs and, some of the APIs that you have out there. Then the third part of it is obviously, making sure that all the forward-looking trends that you're looking at, how do you build for that? So it could be some of it you upskill internally, some of it you build 3P partnerships, third-party partnerships. There are specialists. Why not? Let's work together. You don't need to create everything in-house. So we are continuously identifying those, right? And lastly, I think as AI usage picks up, there's also a lot of work that needs to go into being brand safe, being ethical. So Publicis Group has been the first advertising holding company to be on the steering committee of the C2PA. And C2PA is basically the content safety organization, which has Microsoft, Adobe, and a few others. And it's focusing on ensuring safe generation of content, ensuring author rights, and those kind of pieces. So I think as a group, we've been way ahead of the curve and we're kind of riding that momentum. What we are making sure is that we don't let that momentum slip.
If you can give us an insight into AI and how to make it brand safe, it would be great.
Okay, so I think one is the choice of tools that you make. So, what we do is if there are very new tools, right? It's almost like clinical trials. So we'll be very clear with the client saying, look, this is a new tool, right? We can experiment with it, but maybe it's not production ready. So maybe, do an internal project or do a small scale project depending on how brand safe it is. Secondly, looking at institutional partnerships where things are brand safe. So for example, you could go and build an application directly on the OpenAI API, but there are risks to it. Whereas if you do it through Azure, right, because Azure has an enterprise safe layer of OpenAI, I can actually build an application on top of Azure, which actually allows you a lot of controls in terms of, who sees what are the different editorial views, what are the different data types, what should be, allowed and not allowed. That makes a huge difference. So we only do builds through enterprise safe, brand safe tools, which ensures brand safety in turn.
Also give us an insight into the overall approach and strategy of the group when it comes to Gen AI. What are the guiding principles that you follow?
So I think the first and foremost guiding principle is balancing growth with human values, right? And that's at the heart of what the group says, is that yes, we are fast off the blocks. We'll make massive investments globally, but never compromise brand safety and human values. So that's the number one guiding principle. Then comes the fact that we need to be very smart about what is global and what is local, right? So Core AI that I spoke to you about, that is a global initiative, and it makes sense because the more data and AI, and artificial intelligence is fed, the more it's going to be able to produce and create for you. So if I had to, do this locally at an India level for myself, yes, it would have some utility, but the same tool fed with all the global data and all the global views that Publicis has in terms of its pitch presentations, RFPs, submissions, everything, right? Contracts. That tool is going to be basically the consciousness of Publicis group almost, right? And I'm able to interact with that. So being very clear about what gets done locally and what gets done globally, I think is something that the group has been very good at. And thirdly, recognizing that you can't do it alone, right? It's a world of collaborations. You need to partner with whoever's the best at that point of time. So whether globally that might be Microsoft or OpenAI, but locally you might partner with specific vendors or specific technology companies who have gone quickly off the block to be able to build experiences on AI. So it could be mixed reality, it could be Gen AI based experiences. So bringing that all together is our ethos.
Yeah, and what are some of the conversations that you are having with the leaders within the group when it comes to applications of AI?
Each person has a different vantage point. So I think making it real for each one, right? So if you're talking to a creative agency, they usually, their big question is, what innovation can I drive with this? What exciting idea can come out of this? If I'm talking to a media agency, yeah, there actually there's a big shift, right? At one time, being a Excel jockey made you a rock star. Now you've got a tool that can just analyze it. Yeah. So helping them shift their mindset, saying that it's not about being able to use the tool, it's about being able to ask the right questions that's going to make you successful now. And therefore, how do you go about thinking about those prompts, and an analytical mindset is something that you think about. On tech, again, can I use GitHub? What's the right way to use it? And so on and so forth. So being able to show each side of the business, how this is relevant to them, is, I think, the key.
And what are some of the questions that they are getting that which, from the client side, which, they are asking you as, individual agency leaders, whether it's creative, whether it's media or tech?
I think that the creative agencies, you get a lot of queries around, can I build this system? Can data do this for me? Some of those are realistic, some of those are unrealistic. So you have to temper it. And I think you become almost a sounding board. So say, for example, Raj will call up and be like, we are thinking of pitching this idea to a client.
Is it possible?
Is it possible?
Yeah.
So just that possible yes, no tick mark is a big value add to creative agencies. I think on the media side, they're pretty savvy. They're building their own systems and so on, because media planning is a very, very analytical task. The questions that they are getting from clients is, hey, can you, and I'm not just talking about media over here, across the board is, can you do content faster? Can you do content cheaper? So there's a lot of efficiency questions coming in. But the reality is we are not there yet, right? In terms of being able to be production ready with, AI models. So a client will, for example, see Sora, send it to the agency and say, okay, now make my next TVC with Sora. And there, just tempering that, saying that, we're not there yet is something that we have to.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks for this insightful conversation, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Shivani. Always a pleasure to be here.
With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard this week. You can catch all of our content on Facebook, X, and YouTube. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.